Today, we have the opportunity to meet and hear a few of their stories. So will you please help me welcome to the stage the chairman of the board, Gary Morrow, board members Michael Beindorf, Darwin Lewis, and of course our very own Steve Fife. All right, so this is four. There are others that were not able to be here, but we are so thankful that you guys are here. And I have to tell you, so there's this new thing where they like cut your pants a lot shorter than they used to. Yeah. So I am gonna show my socks here. These
boy, Justin.
These socks, they're available at the store, by the way. These are our LifeVantage socks. I actually really like them. So anyways, I'm getting a little comfortable there with that. So thank you guys for being a part of this. And I have to tell you, this goes back to our a few board meetings ago. We had our Pro 10s and our FAB on with us, and it was the first time that we've had them engaged in that kind of a conversation. And you guys shared your stories, and we were all thoroughly impressed about not only your backgrounds and what you've done, but why you came and why you were attracted to this company. And so we're gonna start with, will you guys just share with us a little bit about your background, what you've done before LifeVantage?
Well, first of all, I'm a father of 4 sons and 1 daughter, all of them grown. And I consider that to be my biggest achievements. But I also managed to graduate from Texas A&M with a marketing degree, University of Texas with a law degree.
Go Aggies.
And I have a stockbroker's license. I'm managing partner of a law firm that has 5 or 6 offices, California, Washington, D.C., Austin, Texas. I'm a managing director of a hedge fund in New York. I'm very fortunate that I have my health, but I give that credit to taking Protandim for the last 14 years. And, you know, it's just a pleasure to be here. This is probably Darwin asked me how many of these I've been to, and I think I've been to at least a dozen.
I love it.
And I'm just glad we're having them again. I hope we go back to 3 or 4 a year.
I love it. Michael.
Yeah, Michael Beindorf, and I would echo what Gary said. It's terrific to be back in an environment where we're face to face. I mean, it has been a long 18 or 20 months. I know for me, and I'm sure for you guys as well. I can't keep up with Gary. I only have 3 children. I have 2 boys and a girl. Thank you. I give all the credit to my wife, I'm afraid. I grew up in marketing and advertising kinds of roles. I graduated from Emory in business school in Atlanta with an MBA, and then I spent about the first 15 years in the soft drink business with Coca-Cola. I kind of worked my way up through various sundry marketing and advertising operational roles to be the chief marketing officer for the years, and then I had responsibility globally for the brand as the chief advertising officer around the world. I left Coca-Cola and worked my way west to San Francisco, spent 5 years at Visa, the credit card company, as their chief marketing product and operations officer. It was a terrific experience. I went on to do some things, spent several years as the CEO of an internet healthcare and pharmacy, several years as the chief operating officer for a luxury destination club. But for the last 10, 12 years, I've kind of run my own marketing consultancy. I have sat on a number of different boards, public, private, and some not-for-profit. Probably the best known of those is I spent 7 years on the board of the World Poker Tour, where I learned to play a little Texas Hold'em.
I love it.
I think I left all my stipends on the table. Today I do the management consultancy thing. I'm a partner in an energy exploration company, but most importantly, I am here at LifeVantage, and it is, I believe, one of the great opportunities and callings of my life, and I'm excited to be here.
Love it, Michael. Thank you. Appreciate that. Darwin.
Sure. My name's Darwin Lewis, and first of all, it's an honor to be here. I married a daughter in Nashville, 2 daughters, 2 and 2 months. Spent 36 years with S.C. Johnson, a family company, a global leader when it comes to consumer products. Various positions in sales, marketing, acquisition. Was a general manager in Canada for 3 years. And probably the biggest inflection point of our life was general manager of Greater China, where we developed our e-commerce strategy. And if you ever go to China, and if you go to Alibaba or JD or RT Mart or Carrefour, take a look at a brand called Mr. Muscle. It's the dominant brand, market leader in China. So very satisfied with that success and looking forward to working with each of you and making ProTandem and LifeVantage also a dominant success in China and in other markets.
Yes. Steve.
These men truly are titans. Their experience is unbelievable. So I'm Steve, and I've been with LifeVantage for just over 4 years, and my background, many of you know, I started as the Chief Financial Officer, and I've spent 30 years prior to LifeVantage in various finance capacities with some very big companies, names that you might not be familiar with, but JDS Uniphase was a telecom company that experienced some exponential growth back in the late 90s and early 2000s. Gilead Sciences is a biotech company, and I've been at semiconductor companies. This is my first network marketing company, and it's great. So I'm happy to be here.
I love it. You're crushing it. Well, thank you for sharing that. And I can tell you, these guys, that was very humble, the way that you introduced yourselves, because I know you've introduced yourself to me a lot stronger than that in some of our moments. But thank you for sharing that. Now I'd just like to get a little background on how you were introduced to LifeVantage and why did you say yes to LifeVantage? Gary, we'll start with you again.
Well, Justin, I had worked with David Brown, and 15 years ago, he calls me on the phone and he says, look, I'm going to work with a new company. You ought to consider serving on the board. And I said, well, what is LifeVantage? And he said, let me send you the science on our product, which was ProTandem. He sent me the science and I got enamored immediately. He knew I played football at A&M and got really enamored with supplements, and I'd been taking a lot of supplements all my life, and ProTandem's in a whole nother league. And if you really care about your health and your well-being and anti-aging, I'm gonna brag, I'm 73 years old. And I look the way I do because of ProTandem. And I got real excited, and as you said, I've done a lot of things. I worked at the State Department, I worked in the White House, I was a constitutional officer in the state of Texas, but this is the job I have where I'm on the side of the angels. We make money, but we're on the side of the angels because there's just an awful lot of people that depend on us for their health and well-being and their anti-aging.
I love it.
And I love it. Compared to other things I do, I spend an inordinate amount of time because I want to be on the side of the angels. Let's just leave it at that.
That's awesome. I
can attest to the amount of time that Gary spends on LifeVantage because a lot of that is on phone calls with me.
That's awesome. Michael.
Well, first, Gary, you know, A&M is going to get a little taste of the Crimson Tide tomorrow. So
Oh, that's true.
we'll see how that goes.
Well, it's been 11 years since Johnny Manziel beat you.
And we remember it well. So some of you have heard this story. I got a phone call 9 years ago from a woman who had been a professional colleague of mine for many, many years. And she wanted to talk to me about a company called LifeVantage. And like Gary, my first question is, well, what is LifeVantage? And so she and I spent some time chatting. I knew very little about free radicals. I had never heard the term superoxide dismutase or catalase. And I certainly was not very familiar with network marketing. But the more we talked, and she talked about ProTandem, she kind of piqued my interest. So I went away, did a couple of days of research on my own. I stumbled upon Joe McCord's paper on NRF2 and its relationship to disease. I managed to work through a few of the peer reviews. And by the time I got done, I called her back. I said, look, I don't know if I belong on the board of directors, but I want Protandem. And I was a product believer and a product consumer before I ever joined the board of directors. So is my wife, so are my kids, so are my brother and my sister and my brothers and sisters-in-law.
There you go.
And,
you're already building a business.
I sat next to Carrie Dickey at my first Pro 10 dinner. And if I wasn't a believer before that, I certainly was after. Anyway, so I became a big believer in the product, and then I went to my first meeting like this. It was in Anaheim in 2012 in the arena there. And I remember walking into the meeting, and I'd been in a lot of big meetings, a lot of bottler meetings and things of that nature, but I'd never been in a room that felt this electric. And it was fascinating to hear the people tell their stories, to listen to the passion that they had for the product. And then about midway through the morning, Dr. Joe McCord came on stage, and you would have thought it was Mick Jagger and the Rolling Stones. I called my wife on the phone, literally in the middle of the meeting, and said, you wouldn't believe what I'm seeing. So I became a believer in the people as well, and I'm excited to be here.
That is so awesome. Thank you, Michael. Darwin.
There are 4 reasons that I joined LifeVantage. The number one and most important to me is to make sure that my North Star aligns with the mission of the company I work for. Once I commit, I'm all in. But having that alignment is mission critical for me. And as we heard this morning, the mission at LifeVantage is leveraging the power of relationships to unlock the health and wealth for everyone we touch. At SC Johnson, we were inspired by family to make life better. So when I heard that mission, I said, you know what, that's a company I want to be a part of. The second area I call Product Plus. It's the little thing. And at LifeVantage, when I also did my research on Protandem NRF2 and saw the power that only LifeVantage has with Protandem, that reduces your oxidative stress by 40% in 30 days. I mean, if you want to be healthy, it's a no-brainer. So, check. The third area that I look for is what I call People Plus. And people that want to work hard, they want to be successful, and they want to make a difference. And the more time I spend with the people at LifeVantage, the more energy I get. I'm really, really excited about the people here and online. The other part on people that I want to mention is organizations change. People change over time. And if you don't change, you're not going to be relevant. And I'm really impressed with our current management team because they've really focused on a servant leadership style. They're listening, and they're focused to make sure you get what you need to win. It's not about management winning. It's about you winning and supporting you. And the fourth and final area, there's more, I could talk all day, but I'm just going to give you my top 4, is this was a nugget I didn't realize, and I attribute Steve and the broader organization is, as the chairman of the audit committee, when I started to go through the financials and the balance sheet and the P&L, I said, oh my gosh, there's no debt. This is a cash machine. We have dollars to invest. So if you got ideas to grow, let's talk. I mean, it's a very special and unique place to be. So those are my top 4 reasons, and I'm thrilled to be here.
Love it. Great stuff, Darwin. Thank you.
Darwin.
Hey, Steve.
For me, the story was a little different. I had been part of we were living in Austin, Texas at the time. Just been part of a company that was sold and was enjoying a little bit of downtime when a recruiter who was located in Dallas reached out to me and said, hey, I've got this opportunity. Would you be interested in learning more about it? You've probably heard that line before. And so we chatted a little bit on the phone, and he talked about the company and said, well, it's in Salt Lake City. And I to this day, I don't really know how he connected the dots when finding me and LifeVantage. I did go to university in Utah at BYU, and I think that's the only connection point as to why he thought I might be a fit. But as I started to study the company, to join as the chief financial officer, I saw a tremendous financial upside, a company that had all of the right elements, incredible products, opportunities to expand internationally, a very strong and accomplished board of directors to help guide, and a leadership team that was a strong leadership team. And so I saw the opportunity to take some of the skills that I had and to come and help realize some of that dream that was laid out. The foundation was already there, but an opportunity to drive that to higher heights.
I love it. We're so glad you came. Yes. Thank you guys for sharing that.
Justin, can I say one thing?
Yeah, absolutely.
Look, y'all make LifeVantage. Our products are great. Our culture's great. Our management team's great. But the reality is we are only as good as our distributors, our partners.
That's right.
And the thing I really like about the way this culture works is we are partners with some of the best entrepreneurs in the world. And they're sitting here or watching us on virtual TV right now.
That's right. That's right. Appreciate that. So we'll finish it up with just a very simple question. What do you see as the future of LifeVantage? I mean, we talk regularly, you think about it daily, but what do you see for the outlook of this great company?
Well, I guess you're going to make me go first again. When I first joined the board, we weren't a network marketing company. We sold our product in general GNC stores, and we spent about $3 million, and we had about $2 million in revenue. And it was not sustainable. And I remember at one of the first board meetings I went to, and I said, well, if we can't take this company to $1 billion, we all ought to resign. And I hadn't changed my mind since then. We're going to take this company to $1 billion.
I love it. Michael.
Well, I've had the opportunity over the years to be involved with a number of large consumer goods companies. And one thing they all have in common is they're constantly on the lookout and searching for another product to run through their established distribution system to grow their business. At LifeVantage, we don't have that problem. Guys, we have the product. We have the product. The problem is that in 18 years since ProTandem was launched, there are still way too many people who are not aware of our product. Look, all we have to do is tell the story. Get up every day, tell the story, tell it again, and tell it again. There's no great mystery here. We are in a world that is moving towards health and wellness and anti-aging. And obviously, after the last 18 or 20 months, I think people are looking for ways to control their own destiny.
That's right.
You've got the opportunity between LifeVantage, ProTandem, and our network marketing model to provide them both of those things, the product and the business opportunity. So the only thing I want to say to you guys is do not miss what may be one of the greatest windows of opportunity of our lifetime. Right now, get committed, get engaged, and let's take this thing to 250, to 500, and to $1 billion.
I love it. All right, Darwin.
All right. In terms of vision, I'm aligned with Gary. It's $1 billion. It's double digits. There's two types of companies that grow and companies that go out of business. We're a company that's going to grow. Two is to be the best company to work for. To develop a culture where people are lining at that door because they want to be in here. To be the best company to work for on a global basis. 3 is to be a legacy leader. You know, we all work hard and we want to make money and be healthy, but you know, it's the legacy that we leave, the people we touch, that really is going to set us apart. Now, my call to action to each and every one of you and myself are these 4 areas. One is to stay focused. It's easy to get defocused. It's easy to focus in on what's the new product. We got to stay focused on what got us here and what's going to get us to the next level, which I would say is Nerf 2 and beyond. 2 is we need to build new muscle. The world is changing, and the people that change in that changing environment are the winners. And we need to build muscle to win in our current physical world, our one-on-one world. But we also need to build muscle to win in the virtual world. The path to purchase and the path of influencing of consumers, how, where, and when she shops is changing, and we need to change with her. The 3rd area is, if you talk to the best athletes, the best teams, the best people in the world, one thing that they always have in common, as great as they are, they're never satisfied. So always stay hungry. Never be satisfied. Always strive to go above and beyond. And last but not least, time flies by. Celebrate your wins. Celebrate your success. Smell the roses. My 36 years flew by. I've been with LifeVantage for 5 years, is flying by. Your life is going to fly by, but make sure that you have fun along the way. Thank you.
Wow, great stuff, Darwin. Thank you. I kind of feel like I'm in a board meeting right now. I'm taking some notes. But Steve, why don't you finish this up?
Yeah, no, thanks. And thanks to each of you for making the time to be here and to share your thoughts and wisdoms with us. You know, I shared my story about coming here because of a financial opportunity and seeing the opportunity to make a difference in the company and how it was run. And I can tell you that over the last 4.5 years, that perspective has changed for me. And what I said just a few minutes ago this morning was that perspective has changed to focus on the individual impact that we have. It's a perspective that I've had a couple of times in my career, but never like I feel it at LifeVantage. It's what gets me up in the morning and motivates me to come into work, to work with Justin and the corporate team, to work with the board, to work with all of you, is because I know we have the opportunity to change lives. And it's a unique industry that your success is really predicated and based on you making other people successful. It's just the way this works. And that is uncommon in most industries. And so my vision is that we continue to touch lives of people that we come in contact by doing those little things. It is the consistent day in, day out principles that you know. We continue to teach and refine and remind, but you know what you need to do. And by going into action, that's what is going to push this company into momentum. And that is how we're going to go to 250 to 500 to $1 billion.
I love it. I love it. Thank you. Please help me thank our board of directors. Thank you guys for making the time to come out.
I don't know about
Thank
you,
you
but I
guys.
feel good.